In this video lesson, we are going to explore the prominent bony landmarks of the first cervical vertebra, C1, also known as the atlas. We have a posterior view, and for context, superior is up here, inferior is down here. This is the person's right side, and here we have their left side. We can see here the posterior arch of the atlas, and in the center of the posterior arch is the posterior tubercle. The atlas is unique in that it does not have a spinous process, rather it has a posterior tubercle. More laterally, we can see the transverse processes, and just peeking out a bit in this view, we can see a bit of the transverse foramina. Each transverse foramen within a transverse process, along with the other transverse foramina of the rest of the cervical spine, allow passage of the vertebral artery. Over here, we can see the anterior arch of the atlas. We can also see in the center here some of the vertebral foramen. The vertebral foramen of the atlas, along with the vertebral foramina of the rest of the cervical spine, and indeed the rest of the entire spine, form the spinal canal through which the spinal cord passes. Now let's take a look at the articular surfaces of the atlas. We can see here the two superior articular processes. On the superior articular processes, we can see the smooth, flat, bony surfaces, which are the superior articular facets. The superior articular facets of the atlas articulate with, form joints with the condyles of the occiput of the cranium above, and those are the atlanto-occipital joints. We can also see a facet here on the anterior arch. This is the facet for the dens, also known as the odontoid process of the second cervical vertebra, C2, which is located directly inferior to the atlas. That is one of the three atlanto-axial joints between C1, the atlas, and C2, the axis. And down here, we can see a bit of the inferior articular processes. The inferior articular processes of the atlas articulate with the superior articular processes of the second cervical vertebra, the axis below. So we have two joints between the atlas and the occiput, and we have three joints between the atlas and the axis. So this has been a review of the prominent bony landmarks of the atlas with a posterior view. Now that we've reviewed all of the prominent bony landmarks here, let's quiz ourselves. Pause the screen for a moment and see how many of the landmarks you can name.